second day. So we can start the second day. I'm not sure we have today the same agenda as it was sent, but I will leave the floor to Gregory, and maybe he can, or someone else from that team, to explain how the day will look like. What is the agenda for today? I don't know who wants to take over. Mara?
Yes, good morning to everyone again. It seems that perhaps Grigoris has some connection problems. I don't know. It seems that he's not connected right now.
No, he was before, but now I cannot
Yes.
see him on the list.
Okay, because he was supposed, yes, there was a changes in the program because the presenter which was supposed to start this day is sick. He has some kind of virus. Let's hope that it's not the virus we all know. But instead of him, Grigoris will talk about the Forest Owner Cooperation of Latvia. It is supposed to be next week, but he had to change it to today. And as far as I've seen the presentation, it's not more about the, like he wrote an email, I think not so much about figures and facts, but about the challenges of forest owner cooperation. So I guess this experience may be useful to other countries as well. But maybe I will try to call Grigoris and check what's the situation with his internet connection. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. We will wait for a few minutes.
I had an issue with, I had to switch computers. Sorry for a few minutes late, but...
No problem. The floor is yours.
Yes, good morning. We had, I sent an email yesterday evening. We had to switch a little bit the program because our first speaker on the Latvian side this morning, he has got some virus, and we have moved him to next Thursday. The slot that initially was I was planning for myself. My presentation, I put it together yesterday evening about where are forest owner cooperatives today in Latvia. I will show it right now, and Mara will help me again with this presentation moving. Mara, are you there?
Can you see it? Is it okay?
Yeah, perfect, Mara. As you see, I have put the logos. We have 3 forest owner cooperatives today in Latvia. And I have been myself managing forest owner cooperative Messainex starting from 2012 until spring this year. So I have some experience and some opinion on where this cooperation movement in Latvia is going. Mara, please, let's go to next one. And a lot of good things actually have been achieved. So we have 3 cooperatives. 2 of them are operating in whole country, which is kind of challenging. Initially, we had discussions. We were looking at the Swedish model and Norwegian model, where they have kind of divided up the country and work in certain more local geographic territories. But in Latvian case, we did not come to such kind of agreement. So it was decided that both mesh saimnieks and both LV mesh will be working in the whole country. It's not so easy. Latvia is not a huge country, but still, it's not so easy to cover big geographic areas with rather small number of employees. That has been challenge all these years. But nevertheless, in cooperation over these 10 years, about 1,000 forest owners were involved. I'm a little bit envious of the Estonian result. Yesterday, Indrek showed a graph where it was 13,000 forest owners involved in this Estonian Forest Management Associations. I have been also studying some Swedish experience when they started. I may mix up, but I think it was in 1950s. And quite impressive start. I am not happy with 1,000 forest owners over 10 years that we have managed, but it is definitely something. It has definitely put cooperatives on a map, so to speak, in Latvian forest sector. But it's 1,000, and behind those 1,000, it's about 30,000 hectares. Again, it is not as much as I probably wanted, but it is something. It is something. It is not so bad. And what I did not put in here, but we have been selling about this 200,000 cubic meters of wood. That's depending on year. It is close to 2% of the wood flow that comes out of private forest in the country, and that's considering that it has been achieved only through not through coming with some money, investing and making a big PR campaign and then moving forward, but this has been achieved without any initial investment, just speaking to the forest owners, persuading them to come together and work together and put their wood flows and their requirements for forest management services together in one big flow, and then moving that flow into the market. That is not so bad. It is some Russian radio, I think, in the background somewhere. So also 9 million euro turnover has been reached, and it has not come easy, but it is again something. One thing that we have been particularly proud of is the huge number of seedlings that cooperatives have sold to their members. And if you remember yesterday, I mentioned this poor situation with regeneration in private forests, and that 40% of the cut areas today we still regenerate with aspen and gray alder, which are potentially places where fuel wood will be grown after 20, 30, 40 years. Then cooperatives for several years have been buying and selling to the forest owners around 1 million seedlings per year. The whole state forest plants in Latvia somewhere, depending on a year, somewhere between 25 and 30 million seedlings, and 3 small cooperatives plant 1 million seedlings. That's not bad at all in a country where there are 2 million people living. All services from we came into market in Latvian private forest sector, there is a certain lack of companies offering services. Everybody wants to cut wood. Everybody wants to transport wood. Everybody wants to sell wood. That's where money is. But when it comes to regeneration and planting and organizing seedlings, pre-commercial thinning, there can be some money made, but not, it's much smaller. So it is not so. When we came, it was lack of companies to which forest owner could come and say, I don't want just to sell my wood. I want also the site to be replanted and looked after and pre-commercially thinned and so on. And I want to have nice forests there in the long term. In Latvian market, we did not really have such companies. Cooperatives came and we came with that concept that we want to be one-stop spots where forest owner can come. He can say, okay, I live in the capital, my forest is 300 kilometers away, but I want somebody to look after it, and I'm ready to pay the costs. And the cooperative organizes everything that needs to be done there. That's the concept we came. We have had some followers over these years in the private sector, but very often it is so that on paper they say, okay, we will look after your forest. But when you look at the prices that they have put in the price list, those prices are such that they want to scare off anybody to take those forest regeneration activities from them. They basically, and it's understandable, it's a private business, they need to make money, they need to get good return on their investment and capital, so it's perfectly fine. But cooperatives tried to create, and they have created a system where this is all possible with good, honest prices, even though sometimes we cross-subsidize something from the wood sales, from the logging, from that part. We sometimes do cross-subsidize something on the regeneration side to have forest owners involved and happy in the long term. Mara, can we please go to the next? One thing that also cooperatives brought to Latvia is an honest advice that we created a situation where competent, knowledgeable forester is available to forest owner at phone calls or email distance. He can get him answer his questions anytime. He can get this forester to his property and walk around and ask some concrete questions that forest owner has. And in our setup, it was possible to organize that EU funding is used for that, and there are no strings attached. Of course, there are always some unhappiness if the forest owner takes the advice and there is no further cooperation. But it's okay because we were getting paid for that. And the private sector, it also started when we started to put this product into the market. The private sector started to announce, yes, free advice with us also, and please come with us, and used it as some kind of marketing instrument. But we, as cooperatives to the Latvia, we really brought this advice with no strings attached, good, competent advice, expert phone call away from the forest owner, and that I think is very, very meaningful. we were as we were looking for a long term with every member who comes to our organization and who buys a share in this cooperative organization. We look at him. But nobody before looked at a small forest owner as a long-term customer. The thinking has always been that, okay, he comes to us, we try to squeeze him as a lemon, and then maybe after 3, 4, 5 years, he will need again something. He may come to us, but maybe he comes to somebody else, and he's just a small forest owner, not really important. We in cooperatives, we tried to get all those forest owners for a long term, set them up that this is an organization owned by forest owners themselves that in the long run helps the forest owner do everything he wants with his forest, keep it in good order and so on. And helping attracting EU funds, therefore, was also important because we get EU funds for him. He does pre-commercial thinnings, for example. He grows better forest, and his forest looks better than other forests, and then maybe neighbor joins and so on. And that was our marketing thinking. What cooperatives brought also was unprecedented level of transparency for the sector, and maybe that has been always some kind of challenge, because you go to the shareholders meeting and they say everything needs to be transparent. We need to know everything, and how the prices are made, and how much you take here and there, and so on. And we have never been. It is not possible to be in a business completely transparent, but the openness that our clients, they know what is the money we make, what is the money we take from each deal, how big it is, where we take it. We have been very, very much transparent, thinking of, and it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, transparency is an advantage towards others that are not transparent. It has often backfired us also that the cooperative member, he thinks, oh, you are taking so much money, but then he goes to somewhere else. He does not have a clue that he's being taken 2 times more money there. But it's not transparent. It's hidden, and it's under some slogan. Oh, we do this for free and that for free and so on. And in a way, he does not have a clue. But the level of transparency that cooperatives brought to the market, other organizations have never been happy about that. And it's probably it's not, I guess, just in this country. It's in many other countries that people who are in timber buying, organizations who are in timber buying, they don't want a knowledgeable forest owner. They want a forest owner that is whom it is possible to manipulate, and whom it is possible to get good profit out of every deal that is made with him. So cooperatives brought this new thing. Then yeah, we came also with this concept that all forest owners are our members, so we treat them in the same way. And when we treat him in the same way, it's also very different from the ongoing practice before cooperatives arrived to Latvia, where always in these organizations, motivation systems are such that if the employee squeezes out more money from a deal with a forest owner, he gets motivated for that, and that he has brought more money to his employer, to his organization he works for. In cooperatives, what we have tried to do is that the forest owner who knows everything, who counts every penny, who tries to follow all the cubic meters moving and checking the measurement and measuring the piles and everything, who is very active, he needs to get the same good deal that the forest owner who just say, okay, I have some kind of forest, I need some money, I don't understand anything of this, and I will not be involved, just do the job. In cooperatives, the setup has always been that we need to treat these two different forest owners on the same way and bring all those two deals to the same result. Going today in the private sector, you would not have that. If you come to some large timber buyer and say, I have 5 hectares of pine clear cut, I need some money, can you organize this? You will not get a very good deal. But that's life. And so 10 years have passed since cooperatives are in Latvia. I think disregarding the fact that they are still very small organizations, we have, through cooperation, brought many new things to the market, and probably disproportionately affected how deals are made, how things are organized, and so on. And that's a very good thing. Mara, please go on to the next. So, this, as you probably can envisage, this has never been easy, and it has the whole development of cooperatives. We have now looking back at these 10 years, we have looked that there are some major problems which probably, if we don't solve them one way or another in existing cooperatives, or maybe the cooperatives that will be created tomorrow, in a long run, they will make this development, they can harm this cooperative development in Latvian case, which is also quite surprising because in not that many countries in former so-called Eastern Europe, cooperation of forest owners has developed, and in Latvia we have been trying. We have some track record, and we have certain results that I personally think we can be proud of. Can we, Mara, move on? So I think the major problem, and you probably have in your countries things maybe organized one way or another, maybe different, maybe the same, but cooperatives, and not just forest-owned cooperatives, also agricultural cooperatives. And I don't know how much will this afternoon Gita will speak from Latvian Rural Cooperative Association about this, but we have very simple management structures historically. Cooperation in Latvia, also in agriculture, it is 20 years old. It's not very old. And most of the cooperatives have been small. Legislation that regulates cooperation also is written for small cooperatives, basically. And if you if you become bigger, if you grow, life becomes a little bit tricky and complicated. And what I see a major structural weakness for forest owner cooperatives today is that shareholder meetings are organized so that all members get invitation to the shareholder meeting, and then they come. In case of forest owners, about maybe 5% come. It's very little numbers that comes, but then they come, and then they take the decisions. And forest holdings are small. Forest owners are not so much connected with the organization, but few of them are, and then they come to the shareholder meeting, and then they take decisions. And these people, they come from all kind of backgrounds. Somebody maybe is working in a food store at cashiers. Somebody maybe is a teacher. Somebody maybe is a truck driver. Somebody maybe is a director in some kind of company, or municipal employee, or whatever. They come from all kinds of life, and then through the forest ownership, they become member of a cooperative, and when the call comes, they come to the shareholder meeting, and they take decisions. And it is not that many decisions that shareholder meeting in a cooperative makes, but the personality decisions is very important, because they elect board, and they elect supervisory board. The two bigger cooperative forest owner cooperatives, they have supervisory boards as well. So they make those personal decisions, and it is also according to law. Cooperatives can change it, but according to law, everybody can put his candidacy to be a board member or to be supervisory board member. And every time the election comes, then we are worried, because we have all kind of strange people showing up in the list, and we hope that shareholder meeting will be able to screen out the bad ones from the good ones. And but there are people that just have come from their walks of life to the shareholder meeting and don't have often a clue, and sometimes even not very much care about who will be promoted to these positions. And it's a weakness, because in Latvia we no, you know, everything depends on personalities in this world, and in Latvia we have a saying that you can put a not so smart person to be a director of a company, but then he gets around him less smart people than he is, because he wants to be the smartest. And then after some time, you have the whole management that is not very qualified to do what they are doing, and often companies fail because of that. Shareholder meeting don't have much important tasks, but they have a very important task to put the right people in the right places. The way it is organized today, it has been challenging, and it's we have had people that should not be in the board getting in the board, and then they start to make troubles, start to push crazy decisions, start to do some infighting, and that has been a real problem. Yeah, Mara, can we please go to the next? So there are many organizations where it's okay. I think in a political party, everybody joins and everybody participates in the political process. They come from all kinds of life, and then they run for elections, try to govern the country. But in an NGO, maybe it's okay as well. But cooperative is not a political party. Cooperative is not an NGO. Cooperative is a business, and the only way to survive in this business environment is that the right people work together in a team and make the right decisions. And if you cannot manage this in a cooperative, then sooner or later you can do best you can, but sooner or later the whole organization can fail, and that's a risk. What can be done about this? We have. I sometimes I really envy. Maybe Swedes will like it, but I really envy a nation that. And because I have spent 10 years of my life in this cooperation, I know very well how difficult it is. I envy a nation who has created Södra with all the industry and big organization and big number of forest owners under one umbrella, and how that can be done. The way forward is to go in my understanding, the Swedish way or Finnish way or Norwegian way, that we elect representatives from the members, and in representatives we organize a representative council, and that takes over the shareholder responsibility, and in that way lead to better decisions on a shareholder meeting level. We have tried that, and it's never easy. It's never easy because we then have to stand in front of shareholder meeting and say, you guys are not good. We need to do a change, select best ones of you, and then let them make the decisions. And nobody likes that. And in Latvian case, we have seen that the members, the forest owners, they say, oh no, but it's democracy. We are all part of this cooperative, and we all are owners of the cooperative, and it's from the democratic point of view, it's important to participate all in the decision making, and it's very difficult to explain that the quality of the decision making is suffering. And we have tried this movement from general shareholder meeting to representative council meeting, but it has been turned down in shareholders, and it's not easy. Once you set up it like this, it is not easy to move to representative meeting, which I think is the only way forward. Mara, please go to the next. Yeah, and so what we have seen is that such cooperatives, they get their profit. They do most of the business with their members. So if they get profit at the end of the year, they have taken that money from members. And whoever manages cooperative at the end of the year in a shareholder meeting, he has to explain why he has profit, why he has taken more money from members' pockets than has been necessary during the year. So the way it has worked in our case is that members say, "Oh, don't do any profit. Let's have a financial result at the end of the year around zero, and then we are happy. Loss is bad, profit is bad. Let's run around zero." And when you make the organization so that in good years you are running at zero, then in Latvian market is very fluctuating. One year you have big demand for pulpwood, another year you don't have big demand of pulpwood, prices go up and down, and we periodically have bad years. COVID also affected things somewhat. And in those bad years, cooperatives go into losses, and then once you are in a loss, it's very difficult to get out of the loss. And that has been a problem. I would say out of 3 cooperatives, and the third cooperative is a small organization connected to a logging company, one can really question whether it's really a cooperative. But the other 2, they have not been able to accumulate money to run profits, to be financially safe. They have run losses from year to year, and the financial situation is not bad at all, not good at all for them. And we do understand it's just 2 real cooperatives. If one of them goes down, or the 2 of them goes down, that can make a big cross on forest owner cooperation as such in Latvia. So it's it's a problem. It's a big problem. We are struggling with that, and we are not being able to be very successful. It is this management issues that earlier years I did not understand. When I go to a bank, and we have a lot of Scandinavian banks in this country. When I go to a bank and I say, oh, we are this fast growing cooperative, so many members, and so big turnover and so much activity, and we are so good, we need to do this and this. And the bank says, oh no, but you know, we have our shareholders in Scandinavia. They say cooperatives are bad business, and cooperatives are very risky. There are so many owners, and nobody takes responsibility of anything, and we cannot give you this and that because of that. You're risky. You are high risk business, and it was time I did not understand that, but the life, my experience has taught me that this is really an issue, and depending on whether cooperatives will manage this high risk and make it low risk for timber buyers, for investors, for banks, for everybody. Very much will, depending on this, will be whether we'll have a bright future for forest owner cooperation or not in Latvia. It's not easy. I don't know how. I'm actually a bit interested in Estonia. You don't have cooperatives, you have these associations. How do you manage there? Because it should be similar problems theoretically. I would be very surprised if there are no, but in Latvia we have seen this. Mara, please go to the next. Yeah, and of course, not everyone is happy to have these transparencies that cooperatives have brought to this country, and there is certain animosity towards that, and that poses risks. I think if tomorrow cooperatives would disappear from the Latvian forest sector, very many people would be happy, and that's something that we have to remember in what we are doing. Financial weaknesses of existing organizations have not allowed us to do some second-level cooperation, such as joint timber selling organization, or some investments in wood processing, or some other things that cooperatives could do together and do it for the mutual benefit of the cooperatives and for the mutual benefit of members. But because of financial weakness, that has all not been possible. Yes, and the connection. Sometimes I have been thinking that if we often have a member, he joins, he does a cutting, he does regeneration, and then he disappears, and we don't see him after all, and him or her. The connection from a member to organizations, that has always been a challenge. Now with Zoom seminars, it has become technically easier to reach a member, but I have been thinking it would have been good that we pay dividends every year, and or every second year, and a forest owner who has joined cooperative, he knows, oh, this financial year has ended, I will get some smaller or bigger amount in my bank account, and that comes from a cooperative where I'm an owner, and that would tie more together owners with organization. But with financial situation as it has been, dividends have never been paid, and we have not been able to go that route. Mara, please go to the next. Yeah, so conclusions. Once you have the management system and shareholder meeting set up, it is difficult to change it in the same way like it is in politics. It is difficult to go from representative system of electing parliament to proportional system of electing parliament, or making any major voting reforms. Once you set the system like it is very difficult to change it afterwards. And cooperatives management is a little bit like politics, because you have to deal with a large number of people that are, yeah, there are similarities. It has been a certain challenge to keep these members interested in developing the cooperatives, and that challenge needs to be overcome. Mara, can we go to the next? Yeah, so yeah, this I kind of covered, but there are good examples. We are happy. I think when forest owner cooperation started in Finland and Sweden and other countries, and at an early stage it would have been killed perhaps also, but there definitely have been places in the world where right decisions have been made, and fantastic results have been achieved through mechanism of cooperation. In Latvian case, we have not, and we can learn, and we have examples to copy, and that all exists. That's actually very good. Challenges to apply, and we are definitely not in the safe water yet, is Latvian forest owner cooperation. But as I said, many good things have been brought to Latvian private forest sector by this development. That is something I'm proud of. Yeah. Mara, can we go to the last? And that's thank you very much. Question: could you go in more autocratic? Could you go in more autocratic system? It seems that you have a participation system that runs it unworkable. Unworkable is maybe harsh word, but yes, it puts a lot of risk and unpredictability in running of a cooperative, and Of course, it needs to be, it is a cooperative, so it needs to be member participation. It needs to be collective decision making. One thing that we have been missing is in Nordic countries, they have these nomination committees which evaluate every candidate that goes for some kind of management position, and only you can get in board or supervisory board if nomination committee has spoken to us and invited and evaluated and promoted. Then you go to the shareholder meeting voting, or in their case, a representative meeting voting. Yeah, what is unworkable is that before shareholder meeting, when there are some positions to be re-elected or voted, you make, according to Latvian legislation today, you make an open invitation. Hey, I have 700 members, please, who wants to be a board member? And then you get some kind of applications for some people that are quite strange, because we know it's there are many strange people around in this world, and sometimes they take the challenge, and then it goes to the shareholder meetings that needs to screen those who want to be something, and it's an efficient problem. It's an efficient mechanism. The way shareholder meeting is organized today, it's an efficient mechanism to do that successfully and with good predictable results. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Gregory.
Yes.
You referred to the good examples of Södra and Metze Group. I've been employed. I was 6 years at Södra, and I was sort of through my start of my employment, I was well into the history, and for a long time, Södra was also just small cooperatives. So, now they've grown to be one through amalgamation, you could say. So it sounds kind of like what you're describing is where Sweden was in the 30s or maybe in the 40s. And so that's probably perhaps one thing that will have to change is they will have to become bigger, the cooperatives, or what do you think?
Yes, they need to become bigger, but I mean, such kind of system where everybody goes to the shareholder meeting and vote and make decisions. It's okay. We have some vegetable growing cooperatives where there are 5 members, and then they get together and then they decide. It's perfectly fine. With 20, with 100, maybe it is still possible, but because people know each other. In Mežsaimnieks cooperative, we today have more than 800 members. Nobody knows anybody, and it is not possible. The way you shareholder meeting has to be efficient and smart to take right decisions. In a bigger organization, that needs to be done in a different way. And the only different way I can imagine is that, like we, in a governing country, we go in 4 years and whatever years and elect a parliament. Good or bad, there always will be some strange things in this process, but we elect a parliament, and for 4 years, parliament is taking decisions regarding governing of the country. In the same way, with larger number of members in a forestry owner cooperative, you have to elect some kind of parliament and entrust that parliament to take the decisions, because that parliament probably is more efficient in taking the decisions if we would take a general referendum all the decisions in our country. That's, yes, we definitely we need to grow, but what I wanted to say, growth is not possible with management structures like it is today, and it is not just forest owner. We have seen a similar activity now in grain cooperatives, that there is some wrong people in supervisory councils that are making trouble trying to change management, and it's in an organization with a little bit more than 1,000 members, and quite huge, about 300 million euro turnover. But they have, with this kind of systems, they have managed to grow to that level, but they have hit a problem there, and because the management structure was not made right.
Yeah, Grigoris. Yeah,
Yes?
I have actually Kalvis again.
Yes, hi, Kalvis, yeah.
Yeah, I have actually maybe like two questions. One regarding this kind of lack of possibility to cooperate in Latvia, which maybe comes like from Soviet times and so on. But then, like, I have been away from Latvia now for over 10 years, most of the time living in Sweden, and every time when I'm actually going back to visit, I would still notice that, I mean, there is some kind of like a generation changes, right? I mean, younger people are coming up and so on. Of course, the forestry is almost in every country, also in Scandinavia, dominated with older generations. But would you say that maybe with the time, also with the generation changes, actually this kind of cooperation and mentality and thinking might improve for forest cooperatives? I mean, maybe also
it is hard to say. I think that maybe. I myself, I'm at an age that I have been experienced some Soviet system in my life, and it has put some kind of stamp on you, which is probably, there are bad things that come with that. Not all people are affected equally, but maybe yes. Sometimes, of course, we should not also exaggerate that the next generation will do things totally different, and we have seen that in politics. Sometimes we think, oh, those old guys will go away, and then the new guys come and they do it even worse than the old guys. So it's not so simple in the world. But regarding cooperatives, I think we have been around for 10 years. A lot of decisions have been made, and some of them have not been right. And you can never make all the decisions right. You always will make mistakes. I think in Sweden, when they started, they had more than 50 cooperatives, and then they had this possibility to make mistakes, and then somebody will go out of the game, but the other ones will learn from the mistakes and move forward. The tricky in Latvia is that it's only 2 practically running cooperatives, and when we make mistakes, those mistakes affect those few, and we don't have the other ones who can learn and then move forward, and that's a bit of a problem. I sometimes think maybe we need to have some more cooperatives, and then we will be on the safe side, and maybe creating new ones, we can work in the right concepts from the beginning, that we 10 years ago we did not just know. We were not knowledgeable how we have had a little bit learned how the Scandinavian way is, but then we saw, oh, that's too expensive, that's costs money, we don't have that money, and we have gone some kind of cheap way. Yeah, I think generation change is probably good also. I think it is not bad thing.
Then I have just maybe I saw also in the programs there is we will talk about the wood measurements later on. And I have a question, like, what is the situation with wood measurements done by independent third parties like VMF in Latvia, which is now Biometry in Sweden, in a private sector? And how are, like, actually the private forest cooperatives looking at the third party measurements? Because they're supposedly their cost also a little bit money, but you get much more transparency, which in the private forest sector wasn't. Like, measurements are usually kind of done on almost an agreement between the two parties, buyer and seller.
Janis will take over me in 3 minutes, I believe. 4. He will talk about measurements, and I don't want to go into his topic before him, but I as just a general comment, I would say that measuring is very difficult to make completely honest, and it is different issues. You can set up systems that looks honest, but in the end, it is one party that pays and other parties that don't pay, and there are many practical things. I would say, from a cooperative point of view, and it is not so important practically, because when you run a good flow, you know very well that this buyer measures like this buyer measures like this buyer evaluates quality like this, and the price is this, and you put those variables together and you try to make the best deal for the forest owner. At least that's what we were trying to do. Not all 100% possible to be successful, but there are these variables, and in real life, we see that one guy who is measuring do it this way, the next guy who comes next shift. In practical life, it's much more complicated. And if you know the buyers, you can predict the outcome. You are not risking. You are pretty much on the safe side, whatever is the measurement. If you just happen to once in 5 years try to sell some wood, of course you don't have a clue. And but this independent measuring, I don't know. It's not so. I don't know biometry how it works in Sweden. In Latvia, it's not so simple, and I don't want to go beyond that. Okay, I think 10:59, Mika, maybe I stop to keep the schedule and try to find Janis somewhere here. Yeah?
Yeah, I think we can go on with next presentation and we will have a break later.
Yes, thank you, Grigoris.
Yeah, please, Janis, I hope I was not too much talking about your topic. Please, floor is yours.
Yeah, you for sure you didn't make my presentation more easy, but yes, I will share my screen. And like this, and like this. Now you can see my presentation.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So yes, Kalvis asked a very good question, and Grigoris tried to answer. But yes, I will explain a little bit. I will come to those questions a bit later at the beginning, I will in general explain how timber measurement system in Latvia works, and then I will a little bit explain what does this independent measurement system in Latvia. So there are a little bit of two sides. Everything is not so easy and not so unified as it is in Sweden, as an example. But let's see how I will fit in 45 minutes. At the beginning, just for understanding, I know you already heard the numbers, how many forests we have, what are the shareholder things, private, state, and so on. But to understand what kind of timber need to be measured, so in Latvia, it's around, including the import volume, so it's around 14 million cubic meters every year, 14, 15 approximately, which should be measured in different stages. So this is one number. If we divide it in loads, so it's approximately 500,000 of truckloads, which is every day moving on the Latvian roads. And if we are looking at the individual logs, so I just calculated this approximate number of individually measured logs, so it's about 30 million. So for the Latvian side, it's quite a lot. I think it's a big number, and measurement things and all the precision things, how should everything be done, it's quite important. And of course, this is maybe some overall Latvian information. So we have around 500 production sites where it is possible to deliver timber from the forest. It's around 900 trucks moving every day with a valid documentation, and from the forest owners also we have to manage around 135,000 forest owners, including from those around 5,000 companies. So all the communication, how timber should be measured, how the data flow should be organized. So here is the floor, how Latvia look like from the point of view of amount of the timber and amount of deliveries. Of course, the regulations, so everybody who wants to sell his timber, he needs to follow these 3 levels of rules. This is obligatory. You cannot do else somehow else. You need to follow the law about tree and timber accounting in the timber trade. So it's obligatory for everybody. We have a regulation of Minister Cabinet, so it's rules about the trees and timber accounting. And last year we got our new standard, our measurement standard. So there is everything written how timber should be measured. So everybody who want to participate and want to sell some wood or forest, there is 3 documents. First 2 documents are free of charge. You can find them on the internet. And for the standard, you need to pay some few euros to get it, but it's a system. And these three documents, it's obligatory to follow. You cannot do some else. And there is the other side. Because of timber sellers and buyers, of course, Grigor is told you have a lot of buyers, so you know every buyer measures a bit differently. They have different level of maybe scale, or also skills, how they are doing, also for the quality evaluating. So everybody, I think that this good all old school forester have a paper notebook where is written everything. So yeah, that company, it's giving me that kind of prices, and there are that kind of quality evaluation and such a things. So this is one part, and this is according to this three documents. But timber, the big timber sellers and the big timber buyers understood that in some cases, especially when the timber is sold from the state enterprises, they are the companies who are buying. In some cases, they are kind of trying to maybe lower the quality as it is actually, and do some things. But it was end of 90s, beginning of 2000, and that was a case when two associations was implemented in Latvia: Timber Seller Association and Timber Buyer Association. I put the years in the small squares. So these are the this independent system, another system who is also following all the rules, but this is another committee who is kind of deciding how the other small things and all the details should be done when the timber seller, forest owner, wants to deliver his timber to some sawmill, for example. So this is in 2005. So actually, it's also quite new system, a little bit taken from Swedish sample, from biometria sample, and in some 2-3 years ago, the Swedish biometria system looked very maybe simple to this system. And for example, for Kalvis, I think he knows, but VMF it was. And as we have implemented and make a new company, Timber Flow Data Center, so this was a SDC in old time biometria, and now it's all connected. But in Sweden, but in Latvia, we decided until now to keep this system how it is here. And so two associations. Then in 2016, there was a new council, joint advisory council, which consists with equal sides from timber buyers and timber sellers. There are meetings once in 3 months, and yeah, the company representatives are coming together and deciding different kind of questions. It's all completely transparent. It's put on our website, all the meetings, all the protocols, and that kind of things, and all the presentations, what everybody is giving. So it's completely, everybody can go to the website and read and follow every rule since 2016, how we are developing every meeting and everything is open, and maximum I think maximum transparency what we can give. And yeah, the beginning was VMF Latvia, which came in Latvia in 1998. At the beginning, VMF Latvia was measuring just in one sawmill, and then at the end in 2005 it was these two associations, and the company which is in the middle, Management of Latvian Roundwood Measurement and Accounting, what I'm representing, so was established. And in 2005 they bought half of VMF, and actually only in 2012, starting from 2012, VMF Latvia is 100% owned, and we bought it from Sweden, owned by Latvian timber sellers and buyers. And the next stage of development was this Timber Flow Data Center, which was established in 2019, so 2019. So that is how the work is done. Association meetings are held twice in a year. Joint Advisory Council is meeting once in every approximately 3 months, and in total, for example, the biggest companies which have most of the workers, just for your understanding, for example, VMF Latvia, it's I don't know exact numbers, but around 150 employees, and data center around 10 employees, something like that. So that is our staff. In management of Latvian measurement, Latvian roundwood measurement and grouting, we are 4. So that is our staff who are managing all the system. And I would say roughly this from all the timber which is cut in the Latvian forests. This system, what you see on the screen, measures approximately, I would say, roughly 80%. So most of the part of the timber is measured by this system. Measurement development, of course, starting in general measurement development, starting from 1960s, when the measurement was done. In the picture in the upper right corner, it was done in the water. So we have made a lot of big steps. Here, of course, you can see the only thing, the caliper changed from the simple manual one to the electronical one. But if we are looking at individual measurement, so it's still here. We are a lot of timber, a lot high value timber measuring by individual calipers, but it is like it is. And the general idea of all the system, it's just this one small graph that 1 cubic meter should be 1 cubic meter. That is our, I would say, biggest goal, just to write. That's a goal and ambitions to write like perfectly how does it 1 cubic meter look like mathematically. Because yeah, we have also did experiments. We were putting the timber in the water, so we were like measuring the water amount of water, how much this volume this timber has, and such things. But we thought, yeah, this is quite long work, so we need to use mathematics and describe everything mathematically, starting from the bark, continuing to the measuring methods, diameter measurement, length measurement, and so on. So at the end, we want that 1 cubic meter in every places will be like 1 cubic meter, and not like one truck, which is, for example, I'm as a forest owner delivering this one truck to one sawmill. There is a 31 cubic meter, another sawmill, it's 32 cubic meters, and then the price goes, the timber prices goes up, and suddenly everybody start to measure better. The timber volumes are growing per every truck, or when the prices drops, the quality is getting worse for every truck, and such things. So this independent system, mostly we want to take away that kind of situation, that measurement should be done independently from the market situation, from the ambitions of the maybe forest owners, of the deliverer. Also, it doesn't matter, is it a state enterprise truck, or is it maybe forest owner who is delivering the one and only his truck in his life. So that is a system goal, to get the equal measurement for every purpose. How the measurement in Latvia is actually done? So we have two types of measurement. On the left side, sample of individual measurement, On the right side is a stock measurement. And yes, this is depending on the, I would say, value of the timber. So at the moment, and as I know, for example, Norway have already, like maybe 5 or even 10 years, they have understood, okay, we can measure saw logs by stock measurement. So we don't need to, it's a saw log, high quality, high price timber, which can, they have understood the measurement costs are maybe too high, and also maybe the trust between the forest owner, that they are not hiding anything in the trucks and that kind of thing. So they can do stock measurement also for the high value timber. In Latvia, it's not, we are not at that stage yet. So we are doing high quality timbers. We are measuring individually, so log by log. Every log is measured, and when we are going to the maybe pulpwood, firewood, and maybe some assortments for making pallets and maybe poles, wooden poles. These trucks can be measured by stock. So this is like the car have usually on the car is 2 stocks, then 2 stocks on the trailer. So it measured stock by stock. So every stock should be measured geometry, coefficient, quality, and such things. So all these things work in Latvia. We are measuring like by different methods, and there are also, of course, different goals of precision. That I can tell a number, for example, for individual measurement, the systematic deviation. I will explain later for what the systematic deviation is, but it's 3%. As we understand that, for example, if the logs are measured individually, so we accept that the deviation by different reason can be not more than 3%. And if the stock measurement is done, so it's measured, it's not every log, but it's somebody is measuring the height, the width, and the length of the timber, plus giving the coefficient of the density of every stock. So in this case, there is a precision which we are accepting is 10%. 10% for one stock. As we know, the logs can be shorter. There can be, in our pulpwood, they can be loaded one huge, I don't know, 40 diameter aspen pulpwood, and the rest can be small timber. So in this case, it's normal to make a mistake for not more than 10%, but around 10%, it's okay. And the system is accepting it. And also the precision rules are written in the standard. That's obligatory. So everybody need to follow the rules of precision. But of course, this is also maybe one small minus of the standard, how it is written. There is nothing about how the rules of precision should be followed. So there is if the simple forest owner without any independent measurement system delivers to the company number A, and they're delivering, measurement is done. Of course, that company will say, oh, okay, I'm measuring not worse than 3% individually, not worse than 10% by stock, and that's it. And somebody will ask, and how you know that you are measuring that? Oh, I know, I have good scalers. And that is how simply is done. That independent system, they have huge amount of control stocks, control assortments, and every day, every hour, all the scalers are controlled, they are remeasured, and everything is can be calculated, like every log, how it was measured, how correctly, how the quality was evaluated, and such things. So there's a, I'm just coming to some different differences. But these two ways in Latvia, they are working. And first, about individual measurement, for the mathematical point of view, I don't know how deep are all you in on the mathematics of timber scaling, but the scanner, I'm showing the number here. Sorry, the one-dimension scanner in Latvia is about 10%, and three-dimension scanners are about 90%. So most of the scanners are making the three-dimensional pictures of the logs, and yeah, just a few are left which are measuring in one dimension. But from the measurement point of view, so there's first word is diameter. So all the scanners are measuring two things: diameter and length. Afterwards is going the calculation, of course, the rounding of these numbers, which are later goes for calculations. And this is a measurement. That is what individually doesn't matter. Even is it a caliper? Some man with a caliper. We have still, let's say, small places, and I would evaluate then, for example, if the production site or sawmill, its production amount of roundwood is less than 100,000 cubic meters a year. So the investment of the automatic measuring line, it's maybe not worth. So most of the sawmills which are producing and using more than 100,000 cubic meters a year, so they are measuring automatically. And all the small sawmills, they are measuring by hand. If it's saw logs, if they're buying saw logs, so still the scaler is coming by his car. He have caliper on in his car and measuring by manual electronic caliper. So these are two ways how it's done. Second part, the calculation for the timber trade. This is maybe a little tricky. This is historically in Latvia, it was allowed for the calculation to use three models. So first is Huber's formula by mid diameter. Second one is top diameter, and third, the most precise one is step-by-step measurement by measuring the diameter in the small sections. So historically it was that we are using this, we can use three types of calculation, and when we were writing the new standard, we couldn't agree that we can switch to one formula. So we are not ready, because also because of the sawmills owners. For example, we have sawmills where owners are German, and traditionally they are measuring the mid diameter, because all the Germany is measuring by mid diameter. Then we have some sawmills who have invested in very expensive automatic measuring lines, and they are able to measuring this section wise by small sections. So they said, okay, we want to measure like this. And still we also have this one-dimensional scanners which are able to measure only the top diameter. That is how they are made, and this is the only thing what they can do. So there was a big discussion, and we at the end we understood, okay, we are not ready to say, okay, these small sawmills and maybe with a less expensive equipment, you just need to invest more to follow the rules of measurement. We didn't did this step. We kind of made this system more transparent by square on the right, but by allowing measure how they are able and how they want. So this is maybe also one thing what Grigoris told, and it's absolutely a thing that one sawmill can measure automatically, for example, by mid diameter, and another sawmill, which is like 10 kilometers from that sawmill, measures by top diameter. And these two results, if we are measuring by different methods, they will differ, and that will be for sure. And this is everybody understands it. That is how it can be, and that is how it is. But this is a very important thing on the right, which is written calculation for the control measurement. And for control measurement, we agreed that, okay, we are allowing to measure all these three methods, but the calculation for control measurements will be one method. So it doesn't matter what kind of technology sawmill is using, all control assortments are calculated by this our created 1 meter step method. So scalers are coming and they're measuring diameter for every meter. So we have this, we have agreed that the step length of the step is 1 meter. So that is how everything is measured. And of course, this is also, everything is transparent. Method is on our website. Everybody can read through the procedure and follow how everything is done. But here is that important place that I told. 3% of deviation, which this independent system is following, that sawmill can choose the method of these three by mid, by top, by step measurement, but they cannot measure worse than 3%. So this is how they should improve the technology. Also, for example, here in the middle part, top diameter and taper. This independent system is taking care about the taper ratio. So not the sawmill is deciding what kind of taper should be used, but it's calculated, scientifically approved taper ratio, which we are recalculating every year based on the calculation of control measurements. So we are quite sure what kind of taper in Latvia we have. On average, we are measuring around 10,000 control assortments every year. So that's a lot. And all the mathematical models for the taper ratio is based on the 10,000 logs every year. So that's quite, I think, enough and a lot to make a good decision. But of course, there is also the cases that sawmill is not fitting these 3%. For example, yeah, we see that by some reasons they are out of the precision goal of 3%. So then again, this independent system have created the correction coefficient that, for example, if the sawmill, doesn't matter, is measuring higher volume or lower volume, for every log, the correction coefficient is applied. So we are calculating the direct sawmill. Here is that kind of deviation, which is wrong. So again, here's a kind of medicine for everybody that this volume will be, volume will be just put a bit higher than it was measured on, or put it lower. So that is this tricky and hard part, which also, of course, makes the service cost something, which is maybe someone thinks, okay, I don't want to buy for this service, which costs, of course, cents. It's not euros per cubic meter, it's cents. So this is also interesting discussion that the timber, which costs 1 cubic meter 100 euro, but for example, the cost of measurements costs 20 cents. We have service, just example, at 20 cents per cubic meter. So, and we are discussing now the price of measurement should be reduced or something like that. But in same way, the sellers and buyers are selling that one cubic meter per 100 euros. But cost of measurement to 20 cents per cubic meter is too much. That is a way where we are living. But all the things, of course, the correction and things, simply when the forest owner, of course, that forest owner who has this perfect notebook by 10 or 20 years before, and he have wrote everything, he maybe knows even better than the independent system, how everything and where it is done. But if somebody new comes into the system and he wants to sell something, Grigoris was also, of course, telling about the corporation and things, but I think if we are looking how many forest owners are not in cooperatives and how many is in cooperatives, a cooperative can help also with all the calculation, timber sell and things. But still we have a lot of forest owners who are just out and they just have got the forest, for example, for the grandparents or the parents, or bought it and they want to sell it. And if they don't have this notebook, so that is already quite bad. So then they kind of only sees the price. Oh, okay, sawmill is buying the log for 100 euros, but he don't know what will be with the quality, how it will be measured, how many these bad quality logs will be measured and such things. So he understands nothing. And here is the place where the independent system really can help, because forest owner can see everything. Here's how everything is done, all the measurement, at least one step. That is also, again, one more goal, that the forest owner or the company, they don't need to worry about the measurement. So if also the state enterprise, they are using this service, and state enterprise, like before in the end of the 90s or beginning of 2000, they were worried about every truck. They didn't know how it's measured. But by this system, they're quite sure, okay, if it's like measured independently in between in the timber seller and buyer, so there everything should be okay. But that's about individual measurement. Then stock measurement, I didn't find good pictures for this, but also we are doing 3 ways, and this is a very big development stage, because if we would talk 5 years before, 100% of all the timber, so all the timber measurement by stock was measured by hand. So that was it was a scaler with a long stock. He was coming and measuring geometry. So that was the left side. And 5 years from now, before, all was measured by hand. Then 3 years before, this independent system and also VMF Latvia made the mobile photo web application, when the scaler don't need to go for a specific load. The truck driver make a photo, or truck driver or the guard at the sawmill, he's making a photo of every bundle of every stock, and the scaler is sitting in the office and measuring there. So that was a new service, and it was applied and already working for 3rd year. And the average volume, which is measured by mobile photo web, is already reaching about 1 million cubic meters a year. So it just measured by this service, so amount by hand is reduced. And also we have automatic measurement. We have 2 systems. One is from Granule Invest. We have in all our granule pellet factories, we have automatic load mount system. It's measuring volume, but not evaluating quality. But it's also, I think, 3 or 4 years. So amount, if you are selling the material of firewood or something for the making pallets, so it will be measured automatically. This is one, and also we as well, our timber flow data center have made also new technology for automatic measurement. So we are also most and really willing to decrease timber amount of measured by hand. And I think I would estimate, I think maybe five years. In next 5 years, I think the measurements by hand, they will be very little. Maybe few percent of all the amount will be measured. Of course, the control, here and the bottom you see the control measurements. So they will for sure. We haven't thought about measuring differently. But here will be still the scaler who is coming and making a control, because of also doesn't matter, it's measured by hand, measured by mobile photo web, or measured automatically. There's all the time control bundles, so the amount of timber is set aside, and when the measurement is done, nobody knows that it will go for control, because it's all the time afterwards. And its control measurement is measured, and also it's measured individually by top-bottom measurement, and we know the exact numbers for every system, every sawmill, how sawmill or production site, how the measurements are done. And of course, the paper waybills and such a things, of course they are also we are trying to switch them to the electronic format. This is also huge, our project for last 3-4 years, that we are not writing something on the paper and giving to the truck driver or someone else, but making this all electronic exchange of different kind of documents for everybody, for forest owner, for the sawmill, easier to use. And this is just an example of how the code in Latvia is written for pine sawlog, top diameter 18 to 28, lengths of pavement 360. So that is a code which is accepted. Also, the data center have all the classificators which we have agreed how we will call the pine and how everything will be done. But this is our nowadays understanding of timber, how it should look like. And of course, the process. This is a one small thing. How we are slowly trying to go for electronic waybills, because until now we are with paper waybills. We are working like that, but we have all the infrastructure completely ready for inventing and introducing electronical waybills, and also the different documents as a delivery instruction, delivery message, shipment status, and measurement ticket. That is the last document, the measurement ticket, what you see on the bottom in the yellow square. This is the end of the independent measurement system. When the truck is unloaded, when the truck is measured, the VMF Latvia is issuing the measurement ticket for every truck. It's now at the moment it's possible to issue it in a PDF format, but we are also using XML format, and we are already serving for the companies this measurement ticket, which is at the end timber how is measured. It's issued in the XML format for every user who wants it. And for some specific sawmills, not some specific, actually, all sawmills which have automatic lines, for them, when the scaler is ending the measurement of the truck, he's pushing the button. This is the end of my scaling. Then the measurement ticket is issued in around 60 seconds. That is our speed, what we have achieved for the automatical measurement. Then everybody, if in the system is involved forest owner, a sawmill, logistic company, so everybody can get this measurement ticket in 60 seconds at the moment at the sawmills where the timber is measured automatically. We are going for automatization of every process, but here in this case, yes. So this is maybe another part of presentation. I will not go in deep in this process. So yes, thank you for attention, and I think you will have some questions maybe.
Thank you, Yanis. Excellent presentation. And I just wanted to say that with independent measuring systems that we have in Latvia, we are definitely in much better situations than we would have been without it. And we remember certain, when it all started after independence, we had time of everybody measuring like they wanted, and so it was it has put many things into order and allowed us also to do many technological improvements and look forward in that direction. Please, if there are any questions to Yanis, please.
I think there is a question from, we cannot see the name. There are only numbers 718906.
Okay.
One person has raised the hand.
Yeah, I'm Eric from Sweden.
Hmm?
Oh, hello. Automatic measurement, does that include measuring with a certified harvester as a base for payment to the forest owner?
No, we are not doing things as Finns are doing. So
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
only this independent system. We have agreed that we are developing the system that the measurement ticket and the payment should be done after the timber are delivered to the place and measured there.
So you don't trust these certified harvesters?
Actually, it's not like we don't trust, but they are not certified in Latvia. We don't have the system for certifying them, let's say.
Okay, but it will come, do you think?
That's a good question. We have some project ideas where we want to understand and evaluate the precision of harvester. We have done that, and just an example. I know that for example, if we would like to measure the saw logs with a harvester, and if it's a nice pine or spruce logs, so the harvester is made for that, and it's working very good. But in Latvia, we have a lot of broadleaves, birch, aspen, and if the harvester is working on birch, on broadleaves, and especially on the pulpwood at the end, on the top of the tree, then the precision is quite bad. And now we have a project for evaluating that, and we need to understand. This is one thing, and another thing. There are, with some species, there are also problems with the bark functions, because we have found, there is finished one project regard to the bark function for the harvester and the automatic measuring lines in the sawmills, and we found that in some places, in some parts of Latvia, and some species are not correctly not correctly bark functions are used. So we need to before accept the bark functions for the harvester, and then I guess that will be the big step forward, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Janis, I have it too. Actually, I also had exactly the same question as Eric just had about certifying harvesters out in the field, but you kind of answered that one. Because actually Sweden is using mostly Finnish bark functions in their harvester algorithms volume. And now Biometry has a project about like secured or certified measurement harvesters where they actually go out to specific harvesters to certify their measurements for specific assortments to fulfill the requirements for buyer and seller. But not all harvesters are kind of like certified in that. So it's like kind of sample. But I thought like maybe, you know, for those who are not from North Europe, let's say if I'm the small forest owner, I have my 2 to 5 hectares and once in a lifetime I'm selling, who would be paying for VMF measurements?
In that case, if the deliverer is a private owner, so the payer is the sawmill there where you are delivering. And actually, in year 2021, we have in some places there is the payment is done equally. That half is paying seller and half is paying buyer. But it's most likely starting from next year that all the payments will be done by buyer. We will not share these payments anymore, because it's in some cases we we were kind of thinking, and we were trying to push the system that everybody's paying equal. These 10 cents per cubic meter is paying seller and 10 cents is paying buyer. And that kind of, it was our idea and understanding that, oh, this is, in this case, the measurement is independent. But actually, we understood that there's no, it shouldn't be done like that. This understanding, it's already by the system what we have created, by all the rules, by Joint Advisory Council, by VMF, who is acting only, they are measuring only how the timber sellers or buyers are saying, using this kind of taper ratios, using this kind of bark function, you need to follow this kind of precision goals and such things. And this is the rules which are creating the system independent and not the payment. And we understood that it doesn't matter who is paying, and we understood that the easiest way, and especially in your example, for the small forest owner, if he will deliver, imagine your one truck, and at the end you will receive a receipt. You need to pay like 10 euros for something. You will not understand why you need to pay 10 euros. And that's why we will 100% include it in the buyer side.
Yeah, I think it also improves the efficiency of billing, because to send even electronically every bill costs money.
Yeah, exactly.
So if there are no more questions to Janis, as I understand, thank you very much, Janis. Perfect job, and you really helped me out on this. And let's take a 10-minute break before next presentation. I think that will be very useful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation, and I hope you get some useful information. Bye.
Hey, thank you.
Limitations, and and if we're speaking about some
limitations of economical activities. Then we have around 30% at the moment. It's 28% of Latvian forests at this time is limitations, if we're speaking. But this is mostly owned by a state forest company. More than this, quite closely to 700 is especially protected environmental territories have been set aside to protect nature. And this and then we later in some few slides I also show how it is the situation in Latvia, because we are very strongly protected territories we have in Latvia on soil and micro reserves. This is absolutely also other, I can say, problem also for Latvia. Forest and society, and so Latvian state owns around 1/2, if we be exact, then it's 1.49 million hectares belong to our country. Forest, this is a state forest company, but the rest is 51% belong to private companies and private owners, and they are around 135,000 people. So, and when we say this is for instance, this private owning territories are quite, also if it's not special, the signs on the restricted areas with some fences, then of course people can, for instance, free to hike through the forest and pick mushrooms and berries, but also mostly this it happens in Latvian state forest areas. But this number of places of recreation increasing every year in Latvia, and after this 2 years of pandemic, of course, this is people also from Riga, from capital of Latvia, is now is very popular, going into the forests and then relaxing and then make sport activities outside city and outside towns. So very good, of course. But this is a a light side of a situation. Then I start to catch a bit different things.
Sorry, Maris, there's a
Yeah.
question. Is it possible to go to switch in full screen mode for this PDF presentation?
Do you? Sorry.
We can see, but it's a bit small letters.
Interesting. I think is, but you have that. So where it is, so. I think this shows so how this is better, like, no?
I think it's better.
It's better, no? How it is. So really I can see what the okay. A bit wondered how we can do that. So.
I think it should be okay. No, I don't know either. How about you?
So.
Maris, I think it's fine. We can.
It's okay, yeah.
It's all
yeah,
right.
but I am wondered a bit because this shows for me like a. So wait, how it is now? No. It's very interesting now at the moment.
No, it's smaller. I think perhaps it was already full screen mode and now you minimize.
Yeah. So.
Now let's just yes.
I think
Okay,
the problem is that it's a PDF. It's not a PowerPoint, I think, and that's why it's a little bit different to.
Okay, let's try again.
But I think it's still possible to read, I think.
I think it's fine, Maris. So we can go on.
Yeah, looking at what's so waiting.
Nē, man šķiet, ka tagad viņš nominimizēja, varbūt augšā uzspiediet tur, kur ir tas klucītis starp svītriņu un krustiņu, un tad varbūt, ka viņš būs lielāks. Jo iepriekš bija labāk.
Ok, pagaid, paskatīsimies, kas te tagad notiek. Nē,
Čatā ir ierakstīts Ctrl+L.
Jā, es zinu. Ctrl+CLT. Es nezinu, jāmēģina vēlreiz. Pagaid, kas te ir? It kā viss man rādās, pagaid. Nezinu, kas te ir. Zini ko, Igorī, davai vēlreiz palaižam. Ja jau ir tā, es nezinu.
Labi.
Es vienkārši brīnos par to, jā. Labi. Tā. Tā. Kas te notiek? Tā, kas te tagad notiek? Tā.
Mārija, es teiktu tā, man liekas, ir ok.
Nē, nu, es nezinu, ja cilvēkiem te kaut kas ir, tā varbūt, ka grūti, tad savādāk. Tu redzi, jā?
Jā.
This is okay. Okay, let's go then. I don't know. I think I show you here. Here is looking quite okay. Okay, then we are, I think, not spending the time, and then we proceeding, So then, and then we will meet with these challenges of European Union Green Deal. As for instance, in this strategy, as we can say this is at least 30% of European Union terrestrial and 30% of the European Union marine areas should be protected. As with at least a third of protected areas being strictly protected, the 10% of EU terrestrial and 10% of EU marine areas. So, and if you're looking for the things, of course, this is quite serious numbers if you're looking. But if you're looking in what is this Green Deal consists of some very huge number of documents and so. And for instance, if you're looking for compliance with the requirements of the European Union taxonomy regulation, this means a revision of the current procedure for calculating annual felling volumes in accordance with the requirements of 6 environmental impact objectives. This is so, and then I must a bit longer, and telling about this. What is this taxonomy and what problem will bring to us? And so, if we speaking about this taxonomy as well, this is a very important things who is can touch everyone who is joined with bioeconomical sectors and the forestry as well. And then we have comments about this criteria of technical screening of the supplement to environmental objectives and climate objectives of taxonomy from forestry point of view. This criteria for the technical screening of taxonomy proposed by European Commission must be assessed not only in the terms of sustainable financing and disclosure of information, but also in the terms of the European Union climate law. This is a European Union biodiversity strategy for 2030, the European Union forest strategy for 2030, and other European Union policies. And all these documents refer to the European Union taxonomy. This European Union taxonomy is a classification system for sustainable economical activities, like a framework which will expand in future. But in this statements, as we found this forest sector, and we, I could say, principally research this document. The statement of the authors for the document that the content of the document is science-based and carefully considered with regard to the forestry regulations and must be viewed in a contradictory manner. But in the descriptive part of the impact of forestry and logging of biodiversity and ecosystems, this impact is rated negatively. And this is very not, of course, if this sum is rated negatively, then this is bringing problems. The document makes no reference to the fact that based on scientific knowledge, different countries have different sustainable forestry practice that reduce the impact forestry and logging on biodiversity and contribute to its improvement. For instance, as I told, forestry in Latvia is and elsewhere in the northern countries is based on imitating natural disturbances and creating the structure of stands of different age. And the important role is given to the preservation of biodiversity in man-made, or I can say cultivated forests, where biodiversity is positively dependent on forestry activities. The importance of forest, for instance, amelioration in Latvia is also different from countries of Central and Southern Europe. This is really problematic, and then we proceeding to other slides how this is looking. For instance, if we can compare with other countries, so automatically, for instance, when this was in a winter in 2021, European Commission Working Group on Forest and Nature had engaged at the views of member states and on the methods and objectives of close to nature forestry is called. Unfortunately, the results of this working group are not reflected in the draft document of criteria for the technical screening of taxonomy. And then if we're speaking about this problems who we met as forest sector according to this taxonomy, then I can say so this delegated document in general does not take into account, for instance, regional difference in climate and land cover existing in the European Union. And so analysis of reference available in the document shows one-sided approach to the criteria by selecting publications that correspond just to initial thesis proposed by the authors, ignoring publications and opinions, I can say, that do not support them. It's a real fact.
Maris, quick question. Which slide are you now in?
This is just, this is this challenges of EU Green Deal. Then we're proceeding now. We have time now.
No. We are seeing slide 3. I'm just a little bit worried. Maybe the system has frozen. Can it be?
Yeah. This is, I think, slide 5.
Yeah. Maybe you close it and open it again.
Yeah. When we start, trying, make a screen different, then maybe it's something. Okay. Yeah. And I think, okay, we can start. I have wondered about this, but anyway, let's start. No, sure. Do you have now?
Es atvainojos, man rādās vispār melns. Man tikai rādās, ka Māris Lielp, kas startīgi. Kaut kas tur ir ar to.
Man ir gan video, gan vēl visas, ok.
Jā.
Sākās viss ar to, ka labi. Tā, tā, ok. Tā.
Now we see your screen.
Yeah. And now you can see now what you see now.
Your screen, but
yeah.
No presentation.
Okay, so Oh. Share. And now?
Perfect, Maris. I think
it's okay.
Very good, yes.
I wondered about, this is a very beautiful when it's, but this is, I think also it's sometimes it's make it crazy, of course, but this sometimes it's okay. But okay, pandemic is, is sometimes punish us, of course. Okay, then I, telling about this taxonomy, which maybe was many people's. It's hard to understand how it is, but principally we must be very careful with this all documentation which is coming. It's of course a Green Deal. We agree with this and so on. But then we, as I must emphasize, as we are different. We are not same countries in a European Union. So and then you can see this. Slide where is this source Belgium from Brussels to forest sector, and then at the moment, if we looking how many we have this different kind of strategies and directives and regulations and everything what we know, this all when we're looking on this is huge number of this documents and all policy activities, then of course we must be very careful and we must understand what is this and how it is, then we can take care about this, as I said. This so and as before I told, of course, this our forest sector point of view according taxonomy is appointed as very problematic and very we are worried about near future. We must be strong, be in our positions. Then I proceeding who is because I hear this could be also presented from the state state service, this nature protection agency about habitat mapping or biotop mapping in Latvia, who is also as this results as we found as the forest sector will be very also problematic and bring this huge problems for us. As you see in our slide, this totally more than 800,000 hectares of the forest areas were survived within the project, and this results of the nature census is published at the monitoring group meeting was take place in the last days of June in this year, and this published as they demonstrate that habitats of European importance have been found in Latvia, an area of more than 300,000 hectares. It's currently unknown what will happen next, and this is the problem, of course. The forest owners back in the year 2017, I personally also, before the nature census was started, addressed this to Ministry of Environmental Protection, asking what will happen once the nature values are counted. The answer of the ministry leaders at that time was let's first get the data and then we will talk about what's happened next. But as we found this situation and attitude was not and is not correct, since the uncertainty does not contribute to the achievement of nature protection goals in any way. And forest owners emphasize this situation. The forest owners anticipated the possible consequences since the very beginning. And it's too early, of course, to name specific numbers, as it is not clear to what extent and in what way the restriction of economic activity will take place. And then when you're looking in the next slide, this assessment of habitats, then we can looking at summaries of information from the available data on L forest habitats of EU importance. This is assessment said as habitats of 54% of the area is rated as good, but relatively large part, 34% consists habitats as average quality rating. But then when we now looking about this problems who will bring this nature census, I will say so. So then we a bit I must now telling about this probably impact of felling moratorium because Ministry of Environment said so as not to plan and carry out any economic activity in the habitat areas of EU importance until the completion and improvement of the Natura 2000 protected areas network and submission of proposals for a unified network of European protected areas. And this is so. There is not potentially removed from the economic circulation may vary from 60,000 to 260,000 hectares. Some habitats of European importance have been found in a protected nature areas, but the protection status of the newly found 260,000 hectares has not been determined. And so, but Latvia, even though 260,000 hectares, knowing the total forest area of Latvia, 3.2 million hectares, is not even 10%, but Latvia cannot afford it. For instance, wood for the timber sector is obtained from forests that have reached the age of felling, and almost 99% of habitats of European importance are found in the stands that have reached the age of felling. And according to data of the State Forest Service, the area of commercial forests that have reached the age of felling is approximately 450,000 hectares. And any size of the area of European habitats found, whether 60,000 hectares or even more 260,000 hectares, will significantly affect wood processing, and this is a very big problems for us. And as we looking for biodiversity strategy, of course, now we have this 18%, but needs to be 30%. But this is also a question of European Union environmental policy. For instance, the database of the Nature Protection Agency includes 649,000 hectares of which is more than 300,000 hectares is forest habitats of European importance. But then we until, as I told, until the completion of improvement of the Natura 2000 network, announce a moratorium of any activity, and this huge number of hectares concerned, and remove them from economic circulation for an indefinite period of time, and this is a very problematic. Also, if you're looking in the next question, this is about compensation, and then for instance, approximate breakdown of the habitats of European importance found is 80% belong to the forest owned by state of Latvia, 10% in public forests, and 10% in privately owned properties. And for instance, in order to avoid paying compensations to private forest owners, the protected areas is primarily should be established in state and municipal forests. This is also in any scenario, most the protected areas will be created in the state-owned forest. Such proposal shows how far the authors of this proposal are is from understanding the economic processes, the lost revenue or the expenditure incurred in the same thing. And this anyway we have met with it problematic. So, and then if we're looking about how strong we have now in this protected areas, so this Forest Service has established more than 2,768 micro reserves and forest lands with a total area of 46,000 hectares. And this is also this, I never heard this, for instance, this micro reserves will be then in terms of the number and area of micro reserves, the largest number has been established for birds, 88%, and then is micro reserves designated for protection of capercaillie, little eagle, black stork, and white-tailed eagle. How it is this situation? Sometimes, you know, we heard this all is this problematic with our protection activities, and all is too small, and then all is this micro reserves must be more and more. But then is how it is really about this hypothetical existence of threats to biodiversity in Latvia. I have also been a member in of working group in National Development Plan of 2025, identified the existence where this in this development plan was in working group identified the existence of threats of biodiversity in Latvia as a problem. But question is, so what values indicate the biodiversity is decreasing? And then this was this is 2 times we send reports to European Commission about biodiversity in Latvia. This was year 2012 and year 2019, and both was you know, principally with negative reports. This was, and this was mentioning to data of Latvian state forest company, Latvijas Valsts meži. But how it is really true, or how? No, and regarding to report of Latvia to the European Commission on the assessment of this protected forest habitats, of course, this is so many this information, and is quite huge, and so, but only, you know, this frame how this report will be created, and this is so all time this was made according to precautionary approach, and this for instance is not so clear information, but all time was, you know, said as principally this is like a method statement. For instance, more than 25 this is quotation, more than 25% of the area is unfavorable for the specific structures and functions of the habitat, including typical species. But this only, you know, just some predictionally. For instance, this is not clear on what specific data the statement about the rest of territory of Latvia is based. Also quotation, outside protected areas, the quality of habitats is even worse. This is, you know, very strange, you know, say. And then taking, you know, and looking with this, how this principally was created, the report and Latvia provides European Commission with an indicative assessment and opinion of some experts. This our forest sector point of view is so, as some experts on the condition of specific European Union importance forest habitats in the country. And assessment is not based on comprehensive habitat mapping. This was I said in this report before. And then quality assessment on site. But I told about this habitat mapping. Also, we met with serious problems, because this also can excluding from our economy is a very huge number of forests. So, and the conclusions on the report in the same situation, you know, as I said, this was 2 years before. Report is not prepared independently and transparently. This is also this monitoring itself. Also, the national report of Latvia have been prepared by the specialists of one team. There is no opportunity in the process to find out whether the method was adapted to result. And then we have questions, for instance, if WWF representative about the threats of biological diversity in Latvia, the forest sector has the following questions. Executors who was, they used methodology and selected experts, conflict of interest of the experts also, possible interest or in a specific result, because then after, you know, this is possible, you know, make projects and researches and so on and so on. And public discussion of this Latvian report also we not met. But how it is really, you know, just you know, one slide about what is about life of birds, because as you frequently hear, the forest sector is often blamed as destroyers of bird habitats. Small eagle, for instance, you can see the small eagle is a very, you know, stabilization process, and we can take in account as the number of couples present in long-term, medium-term, and short-term dynamics. Species is Latvia stable. Osprey also take 3 years, and now this is, of course, is we can say this absolutely this increases this population. This is just examples, but this is we can say so. This is absolutely is so, as for instance, white-tailed eagle. Also, this population in Latvia growing, and the situation is not so bad and not so worse. I can say this improved time by time. And then it's always in conclusion, and because we have, as you know, not so a long time, because I think this presentation could take maybe 2 or 3 hours if we, you know, looking in a deeper, and this is problem. And I can say as what is our opinion, and as a chairman of Forest Certification Council of Latvia, I can say it is biodiversity in Latvia, how it is really situation and within the context of the EU biodiversity strategy. So our goal, for instance, is not to allow reducing the areas of land planted for commercial forestry and agricultural activity. But of course, we as looking as this situation, how it is really, as I told about this micro reserves. We are asking for amending the standard on the procedure of establishment and management of micro reserves, their protection, as well as determination of micro reserves and their buffer zones. And we consider that micro reserves cannot be established in places for which tree felling permits have already been issued. Also, we met with this kind of situations. And our opinion is so, and this is not opinion, this is based on what is our forest scientific says. Biodiversity in Latvia is changing, of course, but not declining. Forest protecting biodiversity may require constant objective monitoring of values also. And I like to quote from European Union biodiversity strategy. This is quote is so: each member state shall perform its part of the work whose volume is determined based on objective ecological criteria and by recognizing that quantity and quality of biodiversity differs in each country. And this is also situation as we must, you know, take care about this. So currently in Latvia, if we're looking for, according to the National Forest Monitoring, this is also, we're speaking about climate neutrality and climate regulations and so on. And it's also a very strange situation. How it is really, because we have now, according to this National Forest monitoring, 65 million cubic meters of dead wood of various species. In 10 years was a plus 7.5 million cubic meters, is 12% increasing, you know, this number of dead wood. And then it's a question, what's happened with carbon then, carbon sequestration also. But sometimes, you know, said for us, oh, how it is, you know, this we with as forest sector we cutting down and not regenerate so enough and something like that. But I must, you know, said so as 1% of the total forest area is felled in Latvia every year for subsequent planting. Their area of young stands has increased since year 2012. From 343 to 362,000 hectares. And then, colleagues, I must also said how it is principally this situation we have for us is very important, of course, is this new forest strategy. And first of all, I said this strategy undermines sustainable forest management. Of course, this sounds not so good, but this forest management practices, I think, is not I just we thinking is downplays the role of substituting fossil materials by renewable wood-based products, and does not treat the economic, social, and environmental aspects. Healthy forests need to be actively looked after and managed. And for instance, this strategy does not acknowledge pragmatic integration of nature conservations as part of sustainable forest management, and therefore increase administrative and financial burdens of forest owners. This is absolutely this is a very take very hard impact to forest owners. And this definition, if we said about sustainable forest management, has been internationally agreed as part of the pan-European Forest Europe process, which should clearly be acknowledged. And I think it's absolutely clear, but now start be some changes who is not acceptable from our countries. And I think our opinion is a competence on forest lies with the member states, and the member states is in a territory so who belong to states can manage it. What they because forests in European Union are characterized by great diversity aspects, from ownership to size, structure, biodiversity, resilience, function, and challenges. And so, and then this should be addressed in a local level. This is our opinion, and then we must take care about this. And then here is so this excessive restrictions on economic activity reduce the value of forest property. This absolutely is so. And then I can say thank you. This was a bit you know, this is a huge information. I must, you know, squeeze in half an hour, and we do some technically no problems together. And so, but I think this message who I gave, I think you just catch very well. And then thank you. Don't panic, it's under control, but this is ironic, but I am not sure as is, everything is now under our control. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Maris. I think it was very good insight into the matter. And I have to say, for 9 years managing a forest owner cooperative and managing other private forest owners' forest, I have got to myself to the idea that it has been kind of sad that we live in a country where forest management restrictions in private forests are not properly compensated. And what it has led to is that forest owners try to manage their forests to lower biodiversity in their forests so that they have lesser risk that in some next inventory or at some point some biological values will be found and their management freedom will be restricted. And I think that's not right way to do it if we think about the environment, if we don't think about all other aspects of it. But please, maybe some questions or comments from the audience to Maris.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there are a few questions in the chat. Perhaps you can check it.
Okay, let's looking where it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is eight. But not so then we can start the looking where this.
Starting from the smiley, I think it's which is the first.
Yeah, Maris, could you make the screen? Okay, this is the old one. Which is the percentage of nature the forest compared to the total forest, and which part is privately owned compared to total forest? This is then we have 70%, I think, is compared. But which part is privately owned? I said it's privately owned forest. Natura 2000 is biggest part belong to Latvian Latvian state forest, but it's really not so problem. But it's nature forestry practice in Latvia. Is close to nature forestry practice in Latvia. This maybe is a question who belong maybe to Latvian Forest Owners Association. They can maybe clear this exactly this by percentage, something like that. As I said, this nature forestry is this I'm mostly speaking about economical things and about it's this this bigger or larger aspects, but here is of course is a different thing. I agree that biodiversity reports are biased, but not only in Latvia. This I think is common, because biased, of course, but not only in Latvia. I understand this is also Josep Maria Gulimir. This is from which country? Slovenia or? So yeah, I think those biodiversity reports are this. I am wondered because when we looking deeper and this kind of reports, I found this is prepared. This is a very strange manner, because this precautionary approach, okay, this we understand what is this, but you can't send to European Commission this principally wrong information, or if are you not prepared for information who will be perfect or close to perfect, then I think it's this not a good style, send something about, and so, but this is just for opinion, and so what is this, what is this all presentation training all
I think
presentation
that's all in
will be
chat,
sent.
and maybe some questions more.
Yeah. So yeah, this was just a biodiversity reports. Okay. And then of course interesting maybe how it is what, for instance, our colleague thinking about this forest strategy, European Union. This is also could be interesting, because we found this is a forest strategies is very like not for forest sector, but for peoples who are now living in a huge cities mostly. Yes, but okay, but without if we speaking without any ironic, then of course we must be very carefully looking after those documents. Yes, it's really so. Mm, da, 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 da. That's all I think is, yeah. So. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Then we will send, of course, my presentation to our colleagues, and it's no problem, because this is inside this also is quite huge number of information, and so. But also we can provide, of course, our colleagues with information and with figures and with all what is interesting according Latvian forest sector, and not just only Latvian forest sector. So, yeah.
Okay, I think if there are no further questions, then
So,
Aris, thank you very much for the insight. This was very interesting and very useful, and we will continue during these seminars still this topic also a little bit tomorrow and a little bit next week. Nature Conservation Agency will be two speakers next week. So we will see different opinions on this. And thank you very much, Morris. And this was very helpful. And thank you that you found time and energy to participate. Thank you.
Paldies, un sveiciens vārdu dienā.
Yeah, and we have 8 minutes short break to make some coffee or wash hands or whatever. Thank you. So I think, I hope we are everybody back. It was environmental issue is a contentious issue, and I just noticed that 3 persons from Environmental Conservation Protection Agency were listening to Mari's presentation. So they have some kind of war all the time going on. And tomorrow, I think Arnis Muizhnieks from Forest Owners Association probably will also touch a little bit on the environmental things. And then next week we will see the other side of the picture where they will voice their opinion. But it's an interesting thing. Now I would like to invite next speaker, which is Gita Meire from Latvian Association of Agricultural Cooperatives, and she will talk a little bit about what her organization is, what they are doing, and cooperation in Latvia in general. I have to say that they have been a very efficient and productive lobbying organization for the interests of both agricultural cooperatives and forest owner cooperatives. And we have had very good collaboration with them, and they are always protecting our interests at the state and government level. Gita, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. So good
Please.
afternoon, everybody. My name is Gita. I represent organization Latvian Association of Agricultural Cooperatives. However, despite what our title may suggest, we are representing not only agricultural cooperatives, but we are also representing our forestry cooperatives, which currently in Latvia we have 3. So I have prepared a little presentation for you. Before I start the presentation, I want to thank you for this opportunity to be here and speak on behalf of my organization. Further on during this presentation, I will be referring to this organization as association, because as you see, the title is quite long and it's very mouthful. I will be dividing this presentation in two parts. Firstly, we'll be touching upon briefly on the development of cooperation here in Latvia. Afterwards, I will be talking a little bit about our organization and what we do to further the development of our cooperatives and understanding of the idea of cooperation, not only in agricultural, but also in forestry spaces. So let's go on. So as I told you, first, I want to talk about a little bit about the development of cooperation. So in 5 questions, we already probably all know with who, what, where, when, and why. I will be introducing the beginning of cooperation here in Latvia. So the question who probably is not that hard to answer. So if those were Latvian farmers who started out with the cooperation here in Latvia. What did they do? They sort of banded all together to kind of develop better conditions for farmers in the market. When did I do it? When did it start, the cooperation here in Latvia? So basically, the cooperation as we know it today started in Latvia in the 90s, and to be more precise, it was the first part of the decade. Where did it happen? Well, this question is not that easily answered specifically, because the problems were faced throughout Latvia. So it didn't happen in one region specifically, but after Latvia regained its independence, there were a lot of problems that needed solving, which is how the cooperation idea got started, and it happened throughout the country. Somewhere there are places where it happened like sooner and places where it happened later, but still. And why? Well, after we regained our independence, the economic situation was quite fragile. A lot of farmers could not reach affordable materials for their for growth of their business. And also what they got paid was a very, very small price, is what they had sort of produced in their farms. So they banded together. They got better conditions for themselves. For example, the factories started to take them more seriously. They started to accept their productions, because before, when they were smaller, the factories did not accept their productions because the amounts were too small, and there was nothing the factories could do with such small amounts. So they banded together. They submitted bigger quantities of, for example, meat, milk, or grain, and so they got themselves like better conditions and so on. So that's briefly about the beginning of the cooperation. And so the cooperation moved on, and here I have composed like a small timeline of main events that furthered the cooperation here in Latvia. So the first time that agricultural cooperatives were founded after Latvia regained its independence was in 1993. During that time, the first cooperatives slowly acquired knowledge on how to cooperate, how to organize the cooperation and cooperatives, like daily actions and so on. but they found themselves in a situation where they weren't taken that seriously in national institutions. So therefore, in 2002, the foundation of Latvian Association of Agricultural Cooperatives, so this organization that I'm representing today, happened. In a time from 2002 and 2012, a lot of new cooperatives were founded now that they had somebody to represent them in state organizations, sometimes even in a private sector. They had somebody to advocate for them in a higher level. New cooperatives were founded at a fast pace, and not only in the dairy or grain sector, which dominated before, but new cooperatives started to pop up, so to say, in fruit and vegetables, also in forestry, in meat production, and so on. We even have a handicraftsman cooperative now. So yeah, the foundation of association was like a turning point for cooperation to grow further and faster. So approximately in 2010, the association started its annual certification process for cooperatives. So the process, it's easy to explain it as a process where, according to the rules of the Cabinet of Ministers here in Latvia, we go through every year documents that have been submitted by our members, and if they fulfill the criteria mentioned in the regulations, then we can give them certification so that they can apply for grants, for subsidiaries, and so on. So yeah, in 2012, we had our first member, which was Forestry Cooperative. So yeah, ever since then, forestry cooperation has been growing here in Latvia. In 2018, we experienced the foundation of our first second level cooperative, when 9 members banded together, 9 members being 9 cooperatives. So they were already existing cooperatives, but they banded together to further their strategies and development of these cooperatives. What's interesting for this fact is that one of the 9 members is from Lithuania. In 2019, so during all this time, we were working alongside the Ministry of Agriculture and other state organizations in Latvia to develop a new cooperational law. And so in 2019, this cooperational law entered into force. Previously, cooperatives worked according to the law issued in 1988. So that was even before the independence of Latvia. So in 2020, and this is the most recent peak point for cooperation in Latvia, we had our first European cooperative starting to operate here in Latvia alongside their colleagues in Estonia. I maybe will not mention the name because it's an Estonian title, and I don't really speak Estonian, and I don't want to butcher the title. Here are the brief statistics from 2014 up to 2020. So since these statistics have been prepared in Latvian, I will be translating a little bit here. So what you're seeing here with these blue lines are the net turnovers of cooperatives these are the numbers they have submitted here in association, and so we have prepared these statistics. So as you can see, the net turnover has been, even though it has fallen somewhere, but it has been stably increasing throughout these years up to 2020. So in 2020, yeah, we hit the highest point so far in our cooperation history. As for the orange line you see here, this represents the number of members in cooperatives. I want to stress here that this is not just forestry cooperatives, but includes them. So these are cooperatives in all industries. So as you can see here, the number of members in cooperatives had been growing up to 2019, and in 2020, due to some complications, the number of members in cooperatives has fallen a little bit. However, these cooperatives have been able to generate a higher net turnover. And now I will switch over to the second part of my presentation, which is basically I'll be talking about Latvian Association of Agricultural Cooperatives. This is the organization I'm representing today, and the organization that represents its members nowadays in state, in local governments, even in international level on occasion. So basic information about our organization. So as I mentioned before, it was founded in 2002. Founders were 4 grain cooperatives and 2 dairy cooperatives. So these cooperatives found themselves in troubled times, and they needed somebody to represent them and to represent their interests in higher levels. Number of members. So we currently have 51 agricultural and forestry cooperatives. And the goals we have set for ourselves as per articles of association is to create and maintain favorable environment for the growth and development of these cooperatives, to fortify the stability and further the modernization of agriculture as such through sort of optimizing the work of cooperatives, to improve the understanding of society about the necessity and benefits of cooperation. Unfortunately, we have had some negative experiences before with cooperation, therefore, but it's not the situation nowadays. Therefore, we sort of want to improve the understanding of society in general about what actually, how necessary and good cooperation can be for development of the of agriculture and yeah. So, and also to represent the members of our organization in international, including EU, in state, local, and non-governmental authorities, as well as private sector where it's applicable. So yeah, as mentioned, we currently have over 50 members that are cooperatives who work in 7 different sectors. Out of these over 50 members, we have like 15 grain cooperatives, 20 dairy cooperatives, as you can see, 3 forestry cooperatives, and also in the mix there are some fruit and vegetable, agricultural service cooperatives, meat and poultry, and handicraftsman cooperative. Currently, we have acquired a few new members, which are 2 new meat cooperatives and 1 beekeeping cooperative. So yeah, the cooperation is is developing and even acquiring new industries. So in 2020, we accepted our first European cooperative as member. Here you can see the name too. Another thing that we are very proud of is that 7 of our members have joined together to create a second degree cooperative. So this is our structure. Our main decision-making authority is the General Assembly of members. This General Assembly consists of all our members. So basically the decision-making authority, the main decision-making authority in our organization is cooperatives themselves. Then we have a board which have 9 representatives of our members. 3 of our members represent grain cooperatives, 3 dairy, 1 member represents fruit and vegetable cooperatives, 1 member represents meat, poultry, and handicraftsmanship, and 1 member representing forestry cooperatives. So we have a forestry industry sort of we have forestry industry incorporated in our daily matters, in our daily responsibilities. Current chairman of the board is Mr. Ingels Jansons, and administrative body is the office. So we have several lines of action that we are taking care of on a daily basis. First of all, it's representation. So we regularly participate in international, state, local meetings and assemblies, as well as other events to represent cooperation point of view and to oversee the inclusion of cooperation as an important pillar of shaping the further development of agriculture as such. Also, we regularly represent our members in state authorities, non-governmental organizations, and private sector to mediate. Sometimes we have to mediate. Sometimes it is to find solutions for the concerns that cooperatives share with us. So on a daily basis, they find themselves facing different problems. They come to us with this problem, and we kind of help find solutions for their concerns, or we help create new laws and regulations to prevent these issues from becoming a further problem. So basically, we also shape agricultural policies to be logical, understandable, and industry appropriate guidelines for farmers. Another line of action that we have taken upon us is education. So we have themed training sessions for our members. As an example, I can mention annual accountant seminar for our cooperative accountants so that they can get to know the latest actualities in laws and regulations in how to conduct the accounting processes in their cooperation. So we want to keep them updated on anything that can become important. Then we also had well, as you know, COVID made its changes to our daily lives and how we conduct our business and so on. So we made a seminar on effective organization and execution of Zoom meetings. We also have educated our members on how to publicly speak because it's very often important. And so on. So we have different training sessions going on. The next are educational courses as well as experience and expertise exchange for our members. So this basically means that we are involved in several projects that support experience and expertise exchange. So basically through us, our members can go to other cooperatives here in Latvia or our partners internationally to acquire some knowledge on how to run their cooperatives better. And also education of the students of Latvian University of Agriculture and other institutions specializing in agriculture and forestry. So what this means is that we have, for example, established a scholarship for agriculture university students that are writing their master's research thesis in cooperation. Also, we have cooperative managers as guest lecturers. We have close cooperation with the agriculture university as such. And we also have seminars and practical exercises with cooperative specialists. So last year, we kind of executed this project where a group of agricultural university students went to a forestry cooperative. They had a lecture and a practical experience there on the spot in the cooperative. They could see how things are run. And they could hear about the daily work of what a forestry cooperative does. And so on. Also, we are dabbling in marketing and publicity. So as the main institution and organization that fights for cooperation here in Latvia, we hold ourselves responsible for painting cooperation and cooperatives in a good light as professional organizations and so on. So we regularly write and release press releases popularizing the idea of cooperation. We also outline problematic issues in agriculture and forestry from a cooperative point of view. We promote our members and inform the public of actualities in cooperation. So basically, the main goal here is to facilitate the understanding about benefits that cooperation can bring, about challenges that these professionals face, and so on. We have also had marketing campaigns in cooperation with Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Latvia. So we released 12 articles, 2 press releases, 5 videos, a radio jingle, and infographic and info page in order to further facilitate those goals. And we also are having our social media run on an almost daily basis, but regularly. So we have our webpage, we have Facebook, Twitter. During these tools, we are making contests by popularizing products of our members. And we also inform the public and our members of actualities in cooperation and agriculture in general. And then there are several additional activities. So we regularly prepare and submit different projects on different profiles and industries. So here are 3 examples that represent of how different our projects can be, but they always come back and tie back to cooperation. So first of all, it could be like creation of system that allows the digitalization of cooperative operations, facilitates the information exchange, and well, helps sort of optimize the work of our members. So generally, I can summarize it as Facebook for cooperatives, but with a professional sort of turn. So another project that we are working on is experience exchange for cooperative managers and specialists with other cooperatives, both nationally and internationally, and discussing cooperatives as part of solution for climate change with the next generation. So those are only few of the projects we have sort of implemented and carried out, but this I think shows very well how different industries can impact the daily work of cooperation. Also, in cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture, we are organizing an annual agricultural contest, SEIES. Within this context, we have a separate nomination, which is sort of devoted only to cooperatives. And the nomination is called the Most Successful Cooperation of the Year. Also, we regularly participate in Kolpa Koshega events. Well, here I have to mention that due to our current lack of maybe lack of experience a little bit and lack of people resources, we might not be that active in submitting proposals, but we are regularly there. We hear the information, we convey the information to our members. And here are the main partnerships we have. So we are the main partner of Ministry of Agriculture in shaping agriculture and forestry policies, as well as solving issues and in the matters of cooperation. We also closely cooperate with agricultural and forestry organizations like Latvian Agricultural Organization Cooperative, Cooperation Council, Farmers Parliament, and others. So here are some of the other partners we are working in close cooperation with. Finally, if you ever have any questions that I might answer, here are our contacts. I have sent this presentation over to the organizations of the seminar, and we will be happy to answer your questions and maybe even establish some kind of partnership and cooperation with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Gita. I have to say that from our experience, we as a cooperative have been in members of several lobbying organizations, and always there is some kind of cost benefit. You have to pay something as a membership fee, and then you get something in return. And this cost benefit has been excellent working these quite many years with Latvian Agriculture Cooperative.
That's great to hear.
Association. And so yes, we have been quite happy to join forces with similar organizations on the agricultural side, and also learned many things from them. And the issues we are facing are very often similar. So there is that has been very good. Please, maybe some questions or comments from the audience to Gita. No questions, I guess.
I see a hand raised.
Yes, please.
No, it's Eric here. Yes. I myself is a forestry farmer in Sweden, and I'm a member of the forest cooperative in the center part of Sweden. How many % of the forestry farmers in Latvia are members in a cooperative?
I couldn't tell you percentage per se, but in 2020, the number of forestry owners in cooperatives were 758.
700?
758.
758, okay. That's Okay.
Well, based on the fact that forestry cooperation in Latvia is relatively new, I'd say that this is a good turnout for now. We, of course, will be working on educating forestry owners further and facilitating forestry cooperatives to do that themselves and to improve their, I don't know, circumstances and their everyday work. But for now, it's I think sort of a good turnout.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Eric,
you.
that figure has slightly increased, but as you saw in Gita's presentation, perhaps altogether the members and the association is uniting a bit more than 50 cooperatives. The total membership of those 50 cooperatives was about 5,000, if I remember correctly. So almost 1,000 of that 5,000 is forest owners, and the rest are farmers. So some are both. Some farmers are both members of farm and cooperative and forest owner cooperatives. There is some double counting there, but it's a small country and the figures are as they are, and it's a big challenge to make them larger in the future. I completely agree to that.
And here's maybe a small addition on my part. We have this tendency to make a lot of small cooperatives in dairy and grain industries, and in which thing forestry cooperation is in front of everybody. They have managed to make, maybe only the number is smaller, like 3 cooperatives, but they sort of achieve the goal of consolidation. They work a little bit more effective as a team. When they need to be represented as a team, they work more effectively, rather than the industries where the cooperatives are a lot and one needs this and the other needs this, and bringing it all together, it sometimes may be more ineffective for one group of cooperatives, dairy cooperatives, and not so effective for the other group. But here the forestry cooperation is way ahead of other industries, even though the forestry cooperation is newer.
Any more questions to Gita? I don't see any raised hands. So Gita, thank you very much. I think it was very useful and very information full. Thank you very much for this time and your effort, and this was very useful. Excellent work.
Yeah, thank you for the chance of being here.
Okay. Bye, Gita.
Bye.
And then I think we can close today's session a little bit ahead of time. For tomorrow, we will have 2 presentations in the morning from our side. The afternoon will be the Estonians will take over, and tomorrow morning it is 2 presentations from the Forest Owner Association. The first one will be about game management, and the second will be about challenges to private forest owners. So I hope they will be quite useful for you tomorrow. I think it's on my part also all. Thank you very much for your time and attention and participation into this event.
Thank you. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you. Yeah.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.